year were you born?
I was born in 1968.
Okay, and were you born in Taiwan? And if not, what age did you come to Taiwan?
I was born in Taiwan. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan.
Okay, and did you grow up where you were born, or did you move a lot?
I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. What was your question?
Were you born were you born in a hospital?
Yeah, I was born in a hospital in Taipei.
Okay, and did you stay in that area?
No, I moved around a lot. I probably moved about 20 times.
Oh, wow.
In my life.
Wow, that's
more than 20 times. Yeah. I went to 4 different elementary schools.
Wow.
My father, he is a college professor.
Okay.
So he taught at different universities. So whenever he changed schools, we moved with him.
Wow, and how was that for you? Was that hard for you, or did you like that?
It was fine.
Yeah, did you have to make new friends while you moved, or did you stay friends with the same people that you were around?
I made new friends wherever I moved to. So we never questioned it because, it's part of life. He moved around, so we moved with him.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I was okay with it. Yeah.
That's good. All right. What is the earliest memory you have of your childhood?
The earliest memory I have of my childhood was, I would say, when I was 1.
Oh, wow.
My father went abroad for his master's degree. He got accepted to Cranbrook Academy. That's in Michigan, and it's an art academy. My dad's an architect.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, so he left when I was 1. And we lived in Taipei, but when he left, we moved back to my maternal grandparents in Tainan. That's another city.
Okay.
So I remember I was on the balcony waving at my dad, watching him leave.
Wow. I'm surprised you still remember that at that age.
Because he left, it wasn't so convenient back then. So when he left, it was for 2 or 3 years.
Wow. That's really hard. Was that hard for you? Or did you, like you said, you kind of just understood that was supposed to happen?
Well, I was 1 and I couldn't really remember.
Yeah.
I remember, okay, bye, Dad. And I didn't know where he was going. And then 2 years later, and then he came back.
Yeah. And how long did that go for?
So that was 1. And then when he came back, I was 3. And then we moved to another city, which is in Taichung, which is in the middle, mid-Taiwan. So Taipei is north. That was where I was born. It's North Taiwan. And then Tainan, which is South Taiwan. And then we moved to Taichung, which was in mid-Taiwan. So we moved around.
Okay. So it must have been very big changes for not just you, but your family.
Like I said, we were used to it. So, it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good that you have a positive attitude towards the situation.
I don't know. We just assume everybody moved around like we did.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
All right.
We didn't know. I mean, kids, we didn't know better. So, okay, we move. Yeah. Okay, let's move. So
it's like you're innocent. All right. Well, what was one of your favorite memories growing up?
Favorite memory? So, when my dad came back from his after his master's degree, we moved to Taiwan, which is mid Taiwan. We moved to a very rural area. He started teaching at a university called Fengjia University, and we lived like in this little village of all the professors and their relatives. So it was like next to a rice field.
Okay.
And there were like fruit farms. So like I said, it was really in a really rural area. So pretty much I spent my childhood playing outside, playing outdoors, like playing in the rice field, during harvest time, and we would play hide and seek, like hiding behind the hay.
That's cute.
And then I remember playing also in to us it was kind of like a forest because we were so little. And I remember my brother stealing fruit from other people, and he climbed trees, and then I remember my brother accidentally disturbed a beehive, and then he was chased by
oh my god,
bees, and then we were, it was just playing outside, and we often get in trouble. My parents, my father would ground us because we didn't know when to come home, so we would be playing until he had to go out and get us.
Oh wow. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, to us it's fun.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a fun time.
Yeah, that was most of my memories were from my childhood. Were playing outside, getting into trouble. My parents grounding us for not coming home for dinner, and
And so were you friends with the professor's children, or did the professors have children, or were you just more with your brother?
There were a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so a lot of them were other professors' families. There were some that were just local, just different kids, but there were a lot of kids.
Okay. And were you close with your brother?
I want to say yes. We fought. My brother is 3.5 years older than I am, so we didn't really hang around with the same kids because he's a little older. He used to bully me a lot. Yeah, because he's older, and I think for him it's, I don't know, I believe maybe it was fun for him to bully me.
That's understandable.
As a younger sister, I think that's what younger siblings are for.
I can relate to that. I understand how you feel, so that's understandable.
Yeah. It wasn't until he went off to college, he no longer lives at home, that we became closer.
Yeah. And was that hard for you that he went off to college?
We immigrated to the States when I was 11. So he was 14 or 15. So it was a few years after we already lived in the States. He came home quite often.
That's good.
Probably once a month or so.
That's
so
really
we
good.
Still see each other. And because he no longer lives at home, I know I missed him not being at home, so we didn't fight as often. And he's probably more mature, so he stopped bullying me.
Okay. All right, what kind of neighborhood did you grow up? I know you said you moved a lot, but was there a specific neighborhood that stood out to you or that you liked the most?
So, like I said, the village in Taiwan that we spent 4 years there. My dad taught at that college for 4 years.
Okay.
And then we moved to Taipei again, where I was born. So I want to say Taichung I have most fun memories. Taipei is a big city, so it wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. And when we moved to Taipei, I was already in second grade. So going to school, academic was more important than playing. So that wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah. And how did you get to school? Like, what transportation? Did you walk or did you drive?
We walked to school.
Okay. And did you walk by yourself or were you with friends or did your parents walk you?
I remember it was an embarrassment for parents to walk their kids to school, at least for me.
Okay.
And I was already in second grade when I was in Taipei. Even when I was in Taichung, we always walked to school with like neighbors' kids.
Okay.
We never parents. Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Okay, what kind of values did your parents instill in you?
Kind of values. My parents, I would say we're a middle-class family. So my parents were pretty frugal.
Okay.
And they also taught us, I think most of the Chinese families taught their kids to be humble, be honest, and also work hard. Our focus was working hard in school, so when we grow up, we would be better off than their generation. I think that's what they taught us.
Those are very valuable, so that's good. Do you feel like you still grasped onto those values, or do you feel like that you teach them into your son?
Boy. My parents, the values are still there. Mm-hmm. My father was really strict. And I remember he would discipline my brother and I by, of course, timeout. And then he would lock us in the bathroom, in a dark bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Like, we had a second floor, so the bathroom upstairs had no windows. And it was a tiny half bath. And he would lock us in there to discipline us. And then my brother was older, so he was okay, but it was pitch dark in the bathroom, so I couldn't see anything. And then I was really young, like 3 or 4. Wow. So whenever he locked us in the bathroom, my brother would be laughing and I would be crying.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So thinking back, it was kind of funny, but when you were a child, it wasn't, being locked in the pitch dark bathroom is kind of scary.
Yeah.
My son, I told myself if I had a child, I would never discipline him that way. Okay. So I never laid a hand on my son. Mm-hmm. And whenever I get upset at him, when he was younger, I would lock myself in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So I would calm down and he wouldn't feel like he was scared or threatened.
So with these...
The other way around.
Yeah, I see that. So with these things that your dad would discipline you with, did this make it hard to have a relationship with him?
I guess I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I was a very rebellious child.
Mm-hmm.
In school and at home. That's why I get disciplined a lot.
Okay.
My father was very protective also. So I remember being disciplined even after I turned 16. Where,
oh, wow.
My friends were going out and I wasn't allowed to go out. And, but now that I understand, because, I'm a girl and I was rebellious, and he probably knew that I was going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So he was very protective of me. Yeah, and even in elementary school, when I was living in Taiwan, I was sort of a tomboy.
Okay.
So I had my hair cut like a boy, and I would refuse, because we had to wear uniform in school, and I refused to wear skirts, so I would wear shorts like boys, and I would often get in trouble, and then they would call my parents to school and say, your daughter refused to wear skirts. And then and I remember I got in trouble because I told the principal, who was a male, I told him, if he wears a skirt, then I will wear a skirt. Yeah, so they called my parents to school. But there wasn't anything that they could do, because they can't make me wear skirts. So what happened was that I would wear a skirt to school, and then sometimes after they check, in the morning they check your uniform, and after that I would take my skirt off, and then I would be wearing shorts.
Wow. You did sound very rebellious, but I understand that. I understand. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, but in school, I guess when I was in school, being rebellious is not a good thing, but I was doing really well academic-wise, so if your grades were good, they couldn't really do anything to you.
Yeah. And how did your mom feel about this? Was she strict as well, or how did she handle these situations with you?
I remember my mom used to tattletale on us, because my dad had to work, so my dad didn't know what was happening at home. And then my mom would get really frustrated. So when I did something or my brother did something, my mother will wait till my dad returned home and tell on us. Like, she did this and he did that, and then my dad would discipline us.
So were you scared? Did you have resentment towards your mom? Like, did you tell her, please don't tell him? Or did you just understand that it was going to happen?
I guess we thought that all the kids were like that. So all the parents were the same. So it was, most of the moms were stay-at-home moms, and then most of the dads went out to work, and then the kids, we all played together, so we all got in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What kind of conversations did you have around the dinner table?
What kind of conversation do we have around the dinner table?
Yes, if you can recall any.
We talked about our days. I think one thing that was really important to our family, not only our family, but in general, Chinese people, food is very important. Dinner was very important. Every day, the most important time that the whole family gets to spend together is dinner. So we all had to. That's why my dad got upset when we didn't come home for dinner. He had to go out and look for us. So my dad would talk about his day at the university, and then my brother and I would talk about what happened to us during the day, anything interesting, and most of our dinner conversations were around what we did during that day.
Okay, and did you typically and your brother talk the whole time about stories, or did your mom have things to say?
I don't remember my mom had much to say because my mom was home the whole day.
Yeah.
And most of the stay-at-home moms, they're probably tired, doing the laundry, cooking breakfast, cooking lunch, cooking dinner. So, I don't remember my mom talked much unless it's like gossiping what happened to our neighbors or.
That's funny. And you said she cooked around the house. Was there any meal that she made for you that you loved or anything specific?
My mother was a pretty good cook, but then we assume all mothers were pretty good cooks.
Yeah.
So, so we, breakfast and lunch, we ate pretty lightly. So dinner is like a big meal for us that we, it's a big meal for her to cook every day. And we all look forward to eating dinner together.
And what was this meal like? Was there like an entree, or was there one big main meal that you guys would eat?
Usually, for the Chinese people, we will have, meat and vegetables, like 3 dishes, and then a pot of soup. Yeah. And I remember my brother and I, we didn't enjoy eating our vegetables like most kids. So sometimes we had to stay and finish our vegetables and finish our plates before we can leave.
And when you would leave, was that to go back outside to play, or was that just to go to bed and get ready for bed?
I guess it depends on the season, because if it was still bright outside, because we ate pretty early. We ate like at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
My dad is pretty punctual. He had to eat, at 6. So if it was still bright outside, then we can go out and play some more. But if it's dark, then we had to get ready for bed.
Okay. And would your mom help you go to bed, or would your dad help you, or you and your brother just kind of help each other?
No, he would never help me, my brother. When we were younger, my mom would help us. Preschool, my mom would help me bathe and get ready and make us brush our teeth. But as we got older, kindergarten or elementary school, we pretty much could take care of ourselves.
Okay, that's good. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
All the kids are like that, right? No?
Yeah. All right, what language did you speak at home?
We spoke Mandarin at home, which is the formal Chinese.
Okay.
Which is Mandarin. There were a lot of different dialects. So Mandarin was the universal Chinese that everybody had to learn.
Mm-hmm. And was that taught in school, or was there any other language taught in school?
Yeah, it was taught in school. That was the only language that was taught in school when I was growing up. The dialect, we lived in Taiwan, so the dialect was Taiwanese. Mm-hmm. And back then, I remember we weren't allowed to speak Taiwanese in school. Yeah, but my parents were from the mainland, from China, mm-hmm. so we didn't speak Taiwanese anyways. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was in elementary school, the children would be penalized when they spoke Taiwanese.
Wow.
Yeah, but they weren't, getting punished or anything.
Okay.
It was, I think I remember when I was in first grade, because we lived in a rural area and the majority of the students were Taiwanese. So I remember I was the class leader because I was probably one of the few children that didn't speak Taiwanese and spoke proper Mandarin. And so every time they spoke Taiwanese, they had to put a coin in a jar or something. Wow. So then, yeah.
So were kids ever scared did they ever accidentally speak it?
They spoke Taiwanese among themselves because their family, they were Taiwanese. So, but then in school, you were taught Mandarin, so you were supposed to practice Mandarin and speak Mandarin in school. So they encourage you to speak Mandarin, and they penalize you when you. I mean, of course, when they're speaking to each other, then they can speak Taiwanese. Yeah. But if the teacher or if I was the class leader, if we heard them speak Taiwanese, then we would make them throw a coin in the bucket.
Wow, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I know you told me your dad was a professor and your mom was a housewife. Was your dad a professor his whole life, or did he ever do anything else?
My father was an architecture professor most of his life. He retired as an architecture professor. Before he studied, he went and got his master's degree in architecture. He worked in the airline industry in freight forwarding. So, yeah, but that was almost before I was born. So I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
What he did.
So hearing about these jobs or seeing him being a professor, did that ever inspire you to want to be that or be that profession?
I majored in interior design.
Oh, wow.
So sort of related. Mm-hmm. I like I said, I was always a rebellious child, and also a rebellious adult. So I originally majored in fine arts until my father said, "What are you going to do with an art degree?" Mm-hmm. So he said, "You better find another major." So the closest I could find was interior design. So I changed my major during my third year in college to interior design. But I was still very passionate about creating art.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's good you stick
And also my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he was also a professor, but he's a Chinese literature professor, but he was also a Chinese calligraphy artist.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up with my father being an architect around his drafting table, and my grandfather painting Chinese calligraphy on his.
That's super beautiful.
Yeah. So, my art interest was, I would say, influenced by my father and my grandfather.
Okay, and were you super close with your grandfather?
I was pretty close to my maternal grandfather because, like I said, when my dad was gone for 2 years, we lived with my maternal grandparents,
Okay.
my mother and my brother and I, for 2 years.
Oh.
And I remember I think this happens to most of the Chinese families. They value sons more than daughters.
Yeah.
They value male more than female. So I felt like my brother was they liked my brother more than they liked me. However, my maternal grandfather, was super nice to me because I think he can sense that most of my relatives, they were nicer to my brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super hard, especially as a young girl, just knowing or thinking that other people disregard you just because you're a female, you know?
They were always praising my brother, oh, what a, fine young man.
Yeah.
They would ignore me.
That's hurtful. But that's good you stayed strong during it.
But I don't know if that's with all the Chinese families or, in the old days. Yeah, because, back then it was just, I didn't think anything of it because all the girls felt, or not all, but a lot of the girls felt the same way I did. So,
yeah. It's understandable. You talked about your education. Was it a good education, or did you feel like you weren't getting the best education? Can you explain that a little bit?
Education. So, I spent the first 11 years in Taiwan. So the education system in Taiwan is very academic based, very rigid. The teachers, they were very strict. So my parents decided to move my brother and I to the States. So we immigrated we immigrated when I was 11. Yeah. So my dad was in the exchange. He got accepted to an exchange program. So he brought the whole family with him. So we moved with him to St. Louis. That was with my son. I also felt that he needed to learn Chinese. So I took him back to Taiwan so he could have an education where he could learn Chinese. And I took him back to the States when he was 10.
Oh, wow. That's super thoughtful of you to want him to learn two different cultures, from in Taiwan, but also in America.
Yeah, because we're Chinese, so we need to. It is very important for at least I believe it's very important for us to at least learn the basic of Chinese.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. How was the change for you going from Taiwan to America?
It was pretty smooth. I think we were all excited that we no longer have to go to school in Taiwan because it could get pretty stale, and it was really strict and like I said, all academic based. And I remember most of the children had to attend a tutoring school after school ended. So I guess school is from 8 to 4, and then after that, most children, they were sent to a tutoring school until 6 or maybe even later, because some tutoring school, they provided meals.
Okay.
So, yeah. And if you didn't go, then that meant that you weren't very studious, because the majority of the kids would attend a tutoring school after their school ended. I think my parents thought that wasn't what they wanted for us. They wanted us to develop other interests instead of just focus on the academics. And they believe that children needed downtime too. So
that's good.
That's a reason that they moved us to the States. But my brother and I, we all had our at least our basic Chinese ingrained in us, so we can still speak Chinese, we can still write in Chinese characters, so that we'll never forget.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So you said that your parents wanted you to have other interests in school. Did you play any sports? I know you said you were into drawing, but did you do any other after-school activities or before-school activities?
I wasn't very sports-oriented.
Okay.
I wasn't a team player. I was always solo.
Okay.
I was like a weird kid, so I was a loner.
Oh, okay.
So I spent most of my time probably reading and drawing and just being at home doing my own thing.
Okay. Well, it still sounds super fun, and I would love to see, if you do have drawings, I would love to see them, because they sound really interesting.
I'm not a good drawer, but but I still have my portfolio. Yeah,
Really?
I still kept my portfolio from my college days.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And you said you like to draw. Was there any specific places that you liked to draw? Like anywhere quiet or just to be alone?
I do a lot of drawing. When I was in college, we had to do most of our drawings in school, in our studio. Or after I graduated, I didn't do much drawing anymore because I was working. So, yeah.
That's understandable. So what were some of your favorite places to be as a child?
Favorite places to be? When I was living in Taichung, which is mid-Taiwan, like I said, we live in a rural area. So whenever my parents had a chance, they would take us into the city.
Okay.
And then one of my favorite places was the library. We would periodically visit the library. It was like a fun place because there are a lot of children's books, and the library was really big. And also, I think there was like also a park. The library was in a park.
Okay. That sounds super
So
fun.
going into the city, I would say, because we grew, like, the places around our village was rice field and fruit trees, and we like to sometimes to be in the city where there are more things to do.
And would it just be your family going into the city, or would your friends come with?
Just my family.
Okay.
Just my family.
Can you tell me a little bit about your friends and what did you play with them?
Like I said, we moved around a lot, so I had different groups of friends growing up. When I was living in Taichung, mid-Taiwan, we all played outside. And that we were, I don't remember going into people's houses because most of the time we were just, outside playing. Then we moved to Taipei City, northern Taiwan, and I had a different group of friends, and I was already in second grade, third grade, fourth grade. It was fifth grade that I immigrated to the States. So second to fourth, fifth grade, I would say we already started focusing on our studies. So most of my friends, we didn't spend too much time playing or hanging out because we had to study.
So do you still keep in touch with those friends, or are you not in contact with them anymore?
A few. I still have a friend that I grew up with preschool.
Oh, wow.
That we kept in touch. And I have a few friends from my elementary school. They are still back in Taiwan, and we kept in touch. I'm pretty good with keeping in touch. I have friends from high school, middle school, high school in the States. I grew up we moved to Texas, Houston, Texas. So I still have a group of friends from Houston, Texas. And then I went to college at the University of Texas in Austin. So I still have a group of friends from Austin. And then I actually moved back to Taiwan for another 20 years after I graduated from UT Austin. So then I have a group of friends that are now still back in Taiwan from work. So, yeah.
So do you miss them, or do you visit them regularly?
Do I miss them?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course I miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss my friends, but they have their own family and I have my family. So, once you become an adult, you have your own family. So we still keep in touch, and with modern technology, we keep in touch on Facebook. And my son said Facebook is for old people.
That's funny.
Yeah. So he said, young people, they don't use Facebook. They use Instagram. Only old people that use only old people use Facebook. So that's how old people kept in touch with each other on Facebook.
Well, that's good you still keep in touch with them. It shows how much you care and that you have a good relationship with them.
Thank you.
Can you describe a specific challenging experience from your childhood? If you don't feel comfortable with this question, we can skip it.
Challenging?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the school system is very rigid and very strict. I always like to challenge the system, with not just whatever they set their rules. I would challenge rules. For example, not wearing skirts. I want to wear shorts, and not attending tutoring schools, which the majority of the children went to touring school, and I was feeling like, they felt like I wasn't being as studious. So like I said, I was always a loner because I wouldn't conform with the school system, and they thought I was a bad influence on them.
And how did that make you feel? Were you kind of just like, I don't care, I'm going to do what makes me happy, or were you scared of them?
No, I was always on my own. I was okay. I had a few friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but I did what I wanted to do. I was doing well in school, academic-wise, and on my free time, I did whatever that pleased myself. I didn't care what other people think.
That's really good that you put yourself first and you did what made you happy. I think a lot of people struggle with that, but I think that's really strong of you to do that for yourself.
Yeah, I never had an issue with peer pressure. I always did what I wanted to do. So I guess that was good and bad.
No, I think it makes it. You sound like you were a really strong woman and confident with yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Did you have a dream job as a kid?
Yeah, I had a dream job, and it's really funny. I wanted to be an ice cream shop owner.
That's super cute.
Yeah, I wanted to own an ice cream shop when I was a kid. That was my dream.
Okay, and did you see shops around where you lived, or what inspired you to have a shop?
I just love ice cream, like most kids. So yeah. I wanted to own an ice cream shop where I can just eat all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually did work at an ice cream shop when I first moved to the States. I worked at Baskin-Robbins.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Pursuing that dream. That's so cute.
But that wasn't very fun, so I gave up on that dream.
That's really good. What age did you have this dream job? Like, what made you think this is what I want to do? Do you remember what age that was?
Preschool.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably maybe 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Yeah.
All right.
And then I wanted to be an artist, so.
Yeah.
But then you could never make a living, or most people couldn't make a living being an artist, starving artist. So had to survive and had to work some other job. And yep.
That's good. In sum, what kind of feelings and words come to mind when you remember your childhood in Taiwan?
I would say carefree, preschool, and then stressed after, elementary school. Then school became really stressful. Yeah.
right. Lastly, if you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
Tell my 10-year-old self, what would it be? I would tell myself to just relax. Things happen the way it will happen. There's no need to stress, and just be myself, be yourself, and things will happen when it happened. And if it didn't, it wasn't meant to be. So don't stress, just relax.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that advice. Sorry.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for doing this interview. I think you're such a strong woman, and I think that even through those trials and tribulations and struggles, you still pursued your dreams and did what you love, and that really inspires me. So I just want to thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
it was my pleasure.
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much for doing this at this time. I'm so sorry that it had to be this late. And
it's all right. No worries.
All right. Well, have a good night. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.